Kemi is the founder of the Young Black Teacher Network and has recently relocated to Dubai, and they are organising their first Dubai event. Kemi is also an educational leader, consultant, qualified SENCO, amongst many other things. So, Kemi, and one thing we didn't say is, yes, we are holding our International Women's Day event on the 7th of March, but International Women's Day tends to happen on the 8th of March. So all of our speakers have got 8 minutes each, which is a very strange timing to have. So, Kemi, over to you, and thank you for joining us, and hope you have a great time presenting.
Hi, Ben. And hi, Amy. Thank you both for having me this evening. I really appreciate it. And my name is Kemi Oloyede, and I am the founder of the Black Teachers Network, formerly known as the Young Black Teachers Network, but we've just dropped the young, even though we still are young. So the name of my talk this evening is More Than a Seat at the Table. And I wanted to touch on this because the theme for this year's International Women is inspiring inclusion, and it's important that we understand what it really means to be inclusive. So we are becoming a more diverse society, and schools, school leaders, they believe that they're doing all that they can, and a lot of them are working to ensure that they have more inclusive and diverse environments. However, I have found that a lot of places are very good at promoting diversity, but the inclusivity is where they fall short. And if diversity is just a tick box activity, then what's the point? Shirley Chisholm said that if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. And I like that idea of bringing your own seat if you're not giving one. But it's not, I think, for me, it's not just about bringing your own chair. Sometimes, you just have to bring your own, be given that opportunity. We are in a world where women are still fighting for their rights. Women are still going through things on a daily basis that, we would like to think that as a progressive society, we're not going through that, but they're still happening. These things are still happening all over the world, various things. But I just want to touch upon, us having to create our own space, that if inclusivity is there, we do have to kind of create our own spaces. There are so many amazing women out there who are leading in different ways, and I'd like to see more of that as we become a more inclusive society. We all know being a leader and even just being a woman in leadership is very hard. I think about the gender pay gap, the amount of women who are in the education sector, but they only make up a tiny percentage, even though we make up a lot of the classroom teachers, they only make up a tiny percentage of senior leaders or head teachers. And I also think about mothers, those on maternity leave who are trying to balance motherhood with working. I think about women who are going through menopause, all these different roles of being, trying to be there for yourself, trying to ensure you're in the best possible position for yourself, trying to take care of your family, trying to progress in your career, wearing so many different hats that can pull you in so many different directions. And then when you have all of that you're carrying on your shoulders and you don't feel included in a school or in an environment that you work in, it can be very draining. And that in itself can actually cause a lot of people to leave the teaching profession. I think about the women, like I said, on maternity who can't even afford to take off the 6 months to a year to look after their baby because they have to come back to work. And what are the adjustments made for those women that are being made for women on maternity who are mothers, menopausal women, to close the gender pay gap even more? There is still a lot of work that needs to be done around inclusion. And I'm glad that this event is highlighting that so that we can actually ensure that we are taking the necessary steps and putting our words to action. Inclusion is something that I'm very interested in and very passionate about because I have been the head of inclusion, and as a qualified SENCO, it's all about inclusion and diversity, equity, and just ensuring that us as teachers, as leaders, we have what we need to thrive in the workplace so that our students that we teach and we support, they can also thrive. When we bring our best to the table, they're able to also bring their best. Inclusion, like I said, is not just about having a seat at the table and feeling included. It's about actually, being included. You want your voice to be heard. You want to ensure that the value that you bring is appreciated as well. I've spoken to many women and even experienced it myself, where we be in spaces where decisions are made at a strategic and business level. We give our ideas, we're happy to share our ideas, but we're not actually part of the decision-making process. Our voices aren't heard, or maybe they're dismissed. Or if we suggest an idea, it is ignored, and then someone else might say the same thing, and all of a sudden it's like they've discovered, I don't know, a new planet. And that can be quite frustrating when you're in that kind of space and you feel like you're constantly being overlooked. To inspire inclusion, we need to not only be diverse, but ensure that when we offer a seat to someone at the table, we value them, empower them, support them, uplift them, and encourage them. When we pour into them, they will add even more value to our schools and places of work, and so on, because they are truly seen and heard. For me personally, diversity is being seen, but inclusivity is being heard and valued. So for this International Women's Day, let's not only inspire inclusion, but let's actually live it out every day so that the next generation are not fighting the same battles or having the same conversations that we are having now in 20 to 30 years' time. So I hope this inspires someone. So thank you all for listening to this.
Thank you, Kemi. That was awesome. What a great way to open our very first International Women's Day event. And I think what you picked out there, that actually, whilst Inspire Inclusion is the International Women's Day theme, and actually we're thinking about, obviously, gender and sex equality there, actually thinking about that intersectionality of, like you said, as a SENCO, and you're dealing with disabilities and all that. Actually, there's so much more that goes beyond not just the gender and sex equality, but there's a lot there. Amy, any thoughts that you wanted to share from that?
I loved it, absolutely loved it. I loved the bit that you said about no seat at the table, bring a folding chair. I think I might just invest in one, actually. I loved the way that you talked about inspiring inclusion, sort of the values, the empowerment, support, uplifting. But the thing I really loved was inclusivity is to be seen and valued, to live it every day, so that the next generation don't have to battle the way we have. And I just love that, because in amongst inclusivity comes all the cultural identities that we have and hold as well, doesn't it? So thank you so much. It was very inspiring, Kemi. Really appreciate you coming on today. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
I also appreciate you joining from Dubai, where it is about 4 hours ahead. So appreciate you probably needing to go to bed now. So thank you so much for joining us, and hope to see you at a Step Up event again very soon. Thank you, Kemi.
Definitely.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.